Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Into the Red Rabbit Hole. I'm Nighthawk, and right here we got Uncle Eric, Fluffy Man, and we just want to say the disclaimer and get into the thick of it. We're going to discuss tonight several different topics, okay? Because I couldn't make up my mind on which one to talk about. So we're going to cover the CERN thing, the cloning, and then Eric and I are going to tell you guys a little bit about our personal life with dealing with the paranormal and the supernatural, okay, and even the cryptid activity, as far as our dealings with them, okay. So these aren't stories from other people; these are actually things that would happened in our lives, okay. So that being said, I got the disclaimer going on the bottom of the screen since StreamYard won't let me post it. And it goes as such. Nighthawk High Strange, this podcast channel declares fair use of any and all content, including the music, to be used for the purposes of informing you, the viewing family, of information for news, parody, research, commentary, news reporting, scholarship, general knowledge, and entertainment value. Okay. So, under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, otherwise known herein as the Fair Use Act. Okay, that being said, I got that out of the way and I can actually catch my breath. Eric, how are you doing tonight?
Man, I feel like a whooped dog right now. I am exhausted, but I'm still kicking, baby. we're still pumping stuff out. We're still getting her done. We're getting her done, get her done, get her done. And we're still going, baby.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I've had a hell of a week. I don't know if anybody caught my Wednesday night spur of the moment live, but I'm every time I find this new information, I try to get it out to everybody as quickly as possible. And what I found out the other day from my research and my investigating blew my mind. I mean, who knew that our Capitol building in Washington D.C. was actually built on lot number 666? That literally blew my mind. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it says a lot. It speaks volumes for our government. You know, it really does. It speaks volumes. Anyways, I want to say hello to Griff. And there's that bizarre and unknown guy again, Roxanne. You might want to keep an eye on him. Good
She's been
evening,
picking on me.
Roxanne. Yeah. Roxanne's in the house. She's keeping him. Oh, Cryptid Huntress. Good to see you, Jessica. You're in the house. All right. Let's see. Who else we got? Nobody else is commenting, huh? Well, I'm going to have to smoke you all out. Let me get my sage. I'm going to burn some sage and smoke you all out. Okay. So,
man.
Anyways, I wanted to do this tonight to basically be kind of like an open mic night because we haven't had one of those in a very, very long time. And I can even put the link in the chat. You know, if somebody good evening, Lauren, good to see you. If somebody wanted to come on, and tell us a personal story that they had with the paranormal or the supernatural too, and I'm sure Jessica's got quite a few. So that being said, and I'm sure Roxanne and Griff probably have something to say too. So, anyways, the one thing that I wanted to bring up, this is something I've never really talked about to anybody. Was when I was a child, a younger kid. I was probably, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, maybe somewhere around there. And I remember it was a sunny day and I was playing in the backyard, like back in those days. That's what we did. We got dirty and muddy and smelly and skimmed knees and, all kinds of bug bites, you name it. We got them. We didn't have Nintendo and all that back then. So anyways, make a long story short, I was out there playing, and I was looking down at the mound I was on, and yes, I was on a mound. There was a mound in our backyard. Imagine that. Could that have something to do with the paranormal? That's a whole nother story. Trust me. Um, but I was playing, and I had my concentration on the ground, because I had cars and trucks out there, and I was playing, and basically I saw this shadow come across where I was playing, and it came across like it is on my chest, of a figure standing there. Okay. And I looked up, and here's it's another kid, standing there, and I'm like, well, where'd you come from, And he goes, oh, I came through the swamp, out back, and came in that way along the fence line. I said, oh, okay. What's your name? And he said, my name's Jimmy. I said, oh, okay. Where you live, Jimmy? And he said, oh, I just live over there in that old house down on the other side of the swamp. And I said, oh, okay. Anyways, we got to talking, and got to become pretty good friends within a short period of time. And he invited me to go over to his house, and I went to his house a couple times, throughout that week. And, we played over there. We climbed on the apple orchard trees and stuff, and just, all kinds of kids stuff, And next thing I know, I get back to the house. The last time I was playing with him over to his house, and his mom was there. It was just him and his mom. And I remember his mom. She had blonde hair, green eyes, and she was a very, very attractive woman. Very, very attractive. Okay. And she wasn't that old. She was probably, I don't know, probably my youngest son's age right now, 26, maybe 27. And he was probably my age, maybe a year older than me. But I got back to the house, and the next day I got up and said, hey, Mom, Dad, I'm going to go over to Jimmy's house. And they go, okay, just, stick to the path, And anyways, I go up through the swamp, go along the path, and I cut through this farmer's field and through this like orchard and stuff covered in trees, old growth orchard, that kind of stuff. The stuff that's, nobody takes care of, but yet it grows. And I get to his house, and I look at his house, and as a kid, I remember looking at the house and saying to myself, something's wrong. Something's wrong with this. It doesn't look right, you know? And as I'm looking at the house, I'm seeing that the shutters are falling off the house, and it's in like disarray. There's spider webs on the door frames, to walk to opening the door, that you have to walk through them in order to get through into the door. Looked nothing like I had seen previously playing with this kid. Okay, and I called out, and knocked on the door, called out, and all that. Nobody came, and I got this real creepy, cold feeling. So I ended up leaving and going back to my house. And my mom asked me, goes, "Why are you back so soon?" And I said, "Well, Jimmy wasn't there." And she goes, "Sweetie, what house did he say he lived in?" And I said, "Well, I'll show you." Well, my dad spoke up because he was at home at the time, and because he was a truck driver, usually he was gone. But he was home at the time, and he says, "I'll drive you over there. Show me where it is." And I said, "Okay." So we got into the car, and we drove over to their house. Went down the driveway. The driveway was all overgrown with shrubs and stuff and trees. I mean, it hadn't been maintained in probably a good 15, 20 years. I mean, just to take a guess at the time frame. And we pulled up to the front of the house, and there was the screen door and stuff on the side of the house with the spider webs on it from earlier, the day before. And my dad's knocking, and then he says, "You stay in the car, stay in the car, and keep the doors locked." I don't listen. I don't listen at all. When I was a kid, I didn't care. Anyways, he's walking around the property, looking for some signs of life and all that. And he's peeking in windows and all that. And he comes back to the car and he sees me standing outside the car. And he asked me, he goes, when was the last time you saw these people? And I told him, I said, it was the day before last. I was over here playing and the house looked nothing like this. It was, it was a nice, well-kept house. The door was white and clean and the screen door wasn't torn and all that. And the hinges were on. And I said, there was no spider webs. He said, did you play inside the house? And I said, yeah, we were inside their house playing. And we also played in the yard too. And he's like, well, he says, son, I think you saw Wanaji. I said, what do you mean I saw a ghost? He goes, exactly what I mean. He goes, I think you just meant your first ghost, your first spirit of somebody that has passed on that used to live on this property. Because he says, I'm going to do some research on it and I'll let you know what I find out. And anyways, he takes me back to the house, and that never dawned on me, because when you're a child, you don't think about these things. Okay, you think about the initial. You're having fun. You're playing with somebody that's new, and they accept you for who and what you are, and all that, and you're just being a kid, And anyways, a couple days later, my dad comes back to me, and he goes, "Did Jimmy ever tell you his last name?" And I said, yeah. He said his last name was Warlock. And he looked at me and he goes, are you sure it was Warlock? And I said, yeah. He goes, did they spell it? I said, no. He goes, well, the last people to live in that house was 35 years ago. And he says that they died in a tragic accident there at the house. And he said their last name was Warlock. And I was just blown away by that. Here it was, I was just a kid playing with another kid, and he turns out to be a freaking ghost, and this is, God is my witness, okay? So, middle initial D. I don't know what his middle initial was. Middle initial never even got to be discussed. Middle names. I was lucky to get a first and last name only. But they were if they were ghosts, then man, they were the nicest freaking ghosts. I mean, I even ate food there. I mean, this is as real as being here with my wife Tracy and the boys. It was as real as that, And my dad told me, he said, son, don't speak about this to anybody, especially your uncle. I said, why? Well, my uncle was a Wachashuakan. Okay, he was a holy man. Okay, and basically the one that taught me, when I was a child too, him and my mother and my father. And anyways, I never told that story to anybody. This is the first time, and it's nice to get it off my chest. This is the first time I've actually talked about that story. This incident, this encounter that I had, it isn't even in my blog page either. It's not written. It's not a written story. And this was going to be one of the things I put in my book that I'm trying to write. And I'm telling you, Eric and everybody in the chat, Stuart and Jessica and everybody, and Roxanne and Griff, this was so realistic. It was just like playing with a normal child. Okay. It was just like interacting with a friend's mother who was actually there. Okay. She even gave me hugs, when I went to leave. It felt real. The smells that I smelled were real. The vision that I saw, it had to have been real. But when I went back the day after, by myself before I got my parents involved in it, and I saw that house and the disarray that it was in, I thought I had the wrong house. I looked around, I was like, and it's the same trail and path that I took with him to get to his house, and it was I don't know, man. It was freaky. That's something that I just really, it blew my mind. Okay. You talk about having something supernatural and paranormal at the same time happen. That was it. That was it. Have you ever had anything like that happen? Anybody?
Well, before I tell a story on mine, that's kind of funny because I went to a school with a kid. His last name was Warlock, Warloc, if I remember correctly. Might have been K, but I want to say it was like C.
Yeah, his last name was Warlocke. That's how they spelled it. So
Jim Stewart said Jimmy D. Warlock.
Like I said, I didn't know the middle name at all, so I couldn't tell you.
And he goes, serious time distortion. I mean, that's one thing I was thinking while you was telling that story. Is like, man, are you dealing with a time distortion or an actual paranormal event? Both of them very good possibilities. Yeah, both of them. I mean, here about 10, 12 years ago, when I was down in my old trailer, I remember I kept having stuff get moved around. And I had one of those supposed to be them hover balls. It looks like it's hovering while you're messing with it. And that was like the most favorite thing that gets moved around was that there. And I remember one night I heard a bang, something walking in the house, and I looked up, and I've always knew there was a presence of a woman in her late 20s, early 30s, somewhere around that time frame, and a little girl living there. And I looked up and I said, if you don't stop messing with my family, I'll evict you. We can live here in peace. I won't mess with you. You don't mess with me. You start scaring my family, you start doing harm. I said, I'll evict your ass. And I've never had anything move again after that. Well, every now and then, because I like in the spring and the fall, I like to sleep with my windows open, get that cool air in my room. I'll hear a little girl playing, singing and playing down my old trailer. And I'll get that from time to time down here. I let them. I mean, I know they're still there because every time I walk by my old trailer, I can feel the presence. But I made a deal with them. It's like, look, you don't mess with me or my family, we'll live together in peace. I know you're here. I know you're going to be here. As soon as you do, though, I'm evicting you. Yeah. How many families have had the tradition to have 3 or 4 names between the first and last? Yeah, I mean, my last name is a new name. It came about when the 3 brothers moved over here to the United States. So that's why if you see my name, we're most likely related because it's a new name. I mean, names change all the time.
Right.
The hell was that? Did y'all hear that?
Yeah, I heard that. It sounded like a cat. You got a cat that's getting crushed.
Aurora, are you in here? Okay. God bless America.
Fluffy had an
accident. Like, what the hell?
That's funny.
You made a weird noise, honey.
Like we're sitting around a campfire telling spooky stories.
Yeah. Oh. You gonna tell everybody hello? She likes to say hello and hi. Hello. Oh. Hello, Aurora. Hello. No, she got what she wants right now. Yeah. Oh man. That was just kind of weird meow for her. Yeah. Well, honey, I can't pet you in up there. You.
I like what Freaky
Oh.
said. Freaky Geek said that the cat's timing is like right on.
Yeah. Oh shit! It was a weird meow.
Yeah, it was.
It
Yeah, it
was
was.
a weird meow. I was like, "What the hell?" I almost had a brown pants moment. I was like, "What the hell do I got going on in here?" What the hell?
Hey,
Buddy,
if
this is
anybody
not
else
very
wants to
comfortable.
come on, I'm gonna, we have to do this one at a time, though. Okay, everybody, we got to do it one at a time. So you guys in the chat decide who's going to go first, and you can come in for a little bit and tell us about your paranormal encounter or
Yep.
supernatural encounter or cryptid encounter. I got hundreds of them, but hundreds of them are going in my book, so I don't want to like really talk about it all. But there's some other ones I can talk about too that would definitely, I think, be worth hearing tonight. So, but I'm gonna put the link in the chat, and whoever wants to come in, just let everybody know in the chat that you're gonna come in. Post it in the chat, and we'll go from there. Okay. But like I said, we can only have one on at a time. Okay. Here we go. We're gonna give it a
For sure.
try.
I was walking through a local trail with a couple of teenagers when I saw a dog man lower its head behind a fallen tree, and we walked to my car being stalked and never did let them know we were being followed. Wow.
Huh. Yeah.
Honey, come on now. Niece's first name is, I call her Carrington. Event her parents have no clue.
Sorry, I'm getting more coffee, guys.
No worry.
And can you believe I'm out already? Wow.
I've still got enough for one more cut, but I gotta walk further than you do to top mine off. I remember this one time.
Go ahead.
No, I've told this one on here before. Never mind. I've told this. That was when I got smacked on the ass.
Oh yeah, I do remember you saying that.
Dude, that was like the most violent I've ever been attacked. I've been touched. I've been scratched.
Oh come on, you loved it.
But the situation wasn't good. I mean, I was helping one of my boots out. I mean, and an entity wasn't friendly. What was there was not friendly at all.
It would have been funny if you turned around and said, "Sarge, stop that."
Oh shit! Oh god, dude. I still, man, I had a handprint on my ass for a while on that. Some of the freaky stuff, like I'm telling about my realistic dreams, and this next one's going to.
Does this handprint make my ass look big?
Yeah. No kidding,
Oh,
it put a hell of a whelp on me.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, I've been touched. Actually, I was just touched a couple. Hey, okay, Jay. I was actually just touched a couple weeks ago in that paranormal investigation at the Pythian Castle. It came across, it said hand and scratched. It said a few other things, and then shortly after it said scratched, I felt a touch here. And I had my buddy I was with look at it because I was like, it didn't feel like it scratched me, but it was saying it was going to, and I felt it. It touched me right here. He looked, it wasn't no scratch. So I don't know if it just didn't have the energy to pull it off or not. I don't know.
I remember doing an investigation up in Maryland, and it was along the marching route of the Confederate soldiers used to march to Gettysburg, and it was going through Sharpsburg, Maryland, and all that, on that route. I think it was Route 33. I'm not sure. I think it was Route 33. I can't remember correctly, but anyways, I remember we went in and we had the ghost box going, and me and another buddy of mine went in first because we were the ones that were the investigators that were more sensitive to everything, can read everything around us. And the first thing that the ghost box said, and this gets me even to this day. And I've still got around here the tape that has that orb on it that I videotaped somewhere around here. I'll have to find it. And anyways, the first thing that the spirits said at that location in that house was, "It's Nighthawk." And I didn't even introduce myself. Yeah, I didn't even introduce myself. They just came across the ghost box. "It's Nighthawk."
Dude, it still tickles me pink every time I hear one of them call my name out. I mean, you're the first time a ghost calls your damn name out, you're like, holy crap. Hey, Dead Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, to this day, every time it says my name, I was like, dude, it just said my name. Oh, man.
Yeah.
But
that was pretty cool,
though. Okay, Jay made a comment here. Says, if you ate food in that house, you probably went through a portal in time.
It's amazing how nothing else changed except the house, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean,
well,
the land,
and that's
the land looked like it was overgrown, yeah, but the path that I took all the way to this house and this property, everything was the same. Everything was the same when I went back too. So that portal would have had to been pretty close to their house that I stepped through. And that's definitely possible. I'm not disputing that could have happened, but spirit can influence what we see and what we smell, and what we sense. Okay, everybody that's in the paranormal field knows that happens. And could it have been a portal, or could it have been them showing me the life that they had before they died in a tragic accident, and then shown me after the accident how nobody's respected their property enough to take care of it, So I mean, it's 50-50 on either one, it really is.
Yeah, and the thing too, it's not something that happens a lot, but it does happen. I mean, I've been to places that looked one way one time, come back the next day and it looks totally different. And you can feel just the paranormal energy coming from them places is so thick and heavy. Generally, I mean, there has been one time it was how I can tell the difference between something good or something bad is usually when something's good, you get this feeling of peace and calm and happiness. And if it's something bad, it's like dread, hate, anger. That's how I can tell when something good or something bad is in an area. That's the energy it gives off. Now that's
right.
So when I'm talking about it has good energy or negative energy, that's what I'm talking about. This is the feelings I get from the energy of this entity.
Right. And well, I mean, interacting with him and his mother, I mean, the hugs felt real. It felt like a real person hugged me, I didn't get any cold chills or anything like that when I got hugged. I mean, and when I touched him, like on his shoulder or on his back or something, because how kids wrestle and stuff and play, it felt like a normal kid, every interaction I had with them felt normal, literally felt normal. And I had no fear whatsoever because they were so polite to me and kind. They were actually very loving as far as that goes, accepting me like that, So, but that's not, I mean, with my growing up there on that property, well, we had this artesian well in the basement and it was open. It was uncapped open. And my wife Tracy could even tell you that well creeps you out every time you go down in that basement. And I remember one day I was like probably 10 years old, and the well pump quit working. And my dad was home, and he says, I'm going to have to lower you down into the well so we can get you to pull the chain and the rope off of the bolt in the wall of the well, and pull the pump up, like this, hand over hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I was 10 years old, and I was really the only one other than one of my sisters who was a tomboy at the time, would be the ones that would go down in the well and pull the thing up. So my dad got a rope and he put it around me, and he put one around my waist and one around, underneath my armpits like this, across the chest and the back. And he lowered me down in there, and I got down in there probably maybe a couple feet from the lip of the well top, and I disconnected the chain from the wall and the rope from the wall. I had to untie it, and he lowered me down even more so I could get more of the chain in my hand. So he lowered me down, and I was in the water up to my chest, okay? And I'm pulling this chain up. And as I'm pulling the chain up and feeling the weight of the pump, something grabs me by the ankles and pulls me under the water. And I let go of the well pump, and the well pump just plummeted, okay? Thank God my dad had enough sense to hold on to me and tell me to grab the chain again. So I grabbed the chain and started pulling it up. He pulls me up by the back of my shirt, lifts me out of the well, and he grabs the chain and he pulls the pump out himself. And, the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm gasping and stuff, and he's pulling the pump up, more worried about the damn pump than he was his own son. But, that goes without saying. In those days, kids were a lot more resilient than they are nowadays. We healed quicker. We got hurt for a purpose. So, hey, Don, good to see you. Daniel, good to see you. But yeah, I mean, I had red marks around my ankles where whatever this was grabbed me and tried to pull me in. Okay. And it was apparent to me that it wanted me to go completely all the way to the bottom of that well. So, and being an artesian well, it's pretty much wide open at the bottom. It's like an underground stream, basically. So God knows what it was. It could have been spirit. It could have been, anything, because we dealt with all kinds of stuff on that property growing up. We dealt with shadow figures every day. Hell, we had the Grim Reaper come out of the basement, float across the kitchen floor, and go down the hallway to my bedroom where my half sister was asleep, and kicked the door open to the bedroom, picked up the bed she was sleeping in, which was my bed, picked it up and slammed it down, picked it up and slammed it down a couple times. All of a sudden, my mom and I hear her scream, and we get up out of the chair in the living room because we could finally move, because we were frozen in the chair when we saw this thing. We couldn't move. We could move our eyes, and that was it. We couldn't even talk. But somehow the interaction with her and it freed us up enough to where we could, move. So we got up and ran into the kitchen and looked down the hallway, and we saw her run through this thing. And she ran so hard through this thing, she ran into the opposite side of the wall and knocked herself out. Literally knocked herself out. So this is, this stuff is real, and, that's just some of the stuff that we went through. Well, here come to find out that apparently there was a drug problem with my sibling, and he was there to collect her soul.
Yeah, people want to say that ghosts can't do this, ghosts can't do that. I can tell you, man, my first experience when I was 3 years old, my very first experience with a ghost was my late grandmother, my mom's mom. She literally picked me up and held me I was literally floating in there being held by my grandmother and her telling
Yeah.
me, Eric, I love you. I'll always love you and I'm always going to be here and protect you. You know, she took
Hmm.
her life. She was mentally unstable and took her own life. And she still came back to tell me, this, she loved me because her and my mom shook me 24/7 to keep me alive. When I was born, my lungs were pushed together, so I had to be shook in 24/7 to stay alive. Otherwise, as soon as I
Right.
stopped being shook, I couldn't breathe. And
Yeah.
it was my mom and her who kept me alive. And then when I was about 2 is when she took her life, and I've been dealing with her since I was 3.
Right.
Honey,
I
you're being a pain
remember.
in the butt.
Yeah, I
Down.
remember. I was real young though. I was probably sometime around 3 years old or so, and you all know that I had a near death experience when I was 3 years old, three and a half. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw my grandmother. So she died somewhere between, you know, 2 and 3 years
Yeah.
old. And I remember being real small and going to the nursing home that my grandmother was in. And I remember seeing her in the bed at the nursing home, and she had the white gown on and all that, and her gray hair, long hair. And I remember her saying, Billy, I love you, and don't worry, I'll be watching out for you. Well, we went home that evening after seeing her and spending time with her, and my dad got a phone call real late at night, and it must have been probably about midnight or so, and he had to go to work in the morning, but he ended up calling off work because she had apparently climbed out the window of the nursing home she was at, got on the water tower, and she climbed up the water tower. And when she got to the top of the water tower, she jumped to her death.
Mm.
So, that's how I lost my grandmother. Okay. Um, I, and what sucks is the fact that, you always want your grandparents to be around you when you're a kid, and
Mm.
that had such a traumatic effect on me that it made me really, really, bitter, angry that, she felt less of herself, that she had to do that in order to find
Mm.
peace. And you know and then I had the near death experience picking chestnuts with my sister, and you know getting the boots put to me by a teenager and a pre-teenager, when I was 3.5 years old. And when I had the near death experience and I saw her and she's like, Billy, you have to stay there. You got some things you need to do and take care of, there in that world. It's not your time yet. And,
Mm-hmm.
I woke up in my mom's arms as she was carrying me to the house, So, I mean,
Yeah.
we all have bad things that have happened to us in the past. Um, does it mark us for what happens to us in the future? Very well could be. Okay. Now, when we talk about, well, let's just talk about clones for existence. Okay. Um, I had a thought today. Yeah, I had a thought today. You know how my brain works all the time, Eric. You know that, I mean, this is
Mm-hmm.
not a conversation we have that my brain's not like constantly, trying to figure stuff out. And I had a thought today about, what if we were already dead? What if,
Purgatory.
yeah, what if this is kind of like a purgatory? What if this is like the holding area, like it says in I think it's the Book of Enoch about the levels of heaven, and the third level being of heaven, a holding area. And on one side is the fallen angels, Lucifer and his 200 or whatever, and then there's us that looks kind of like a normal world, kind of like paradise, but not really paradise, and it's just a holding area, until we are judged by our deeds in our life by God or the Creator, and blessed enough to go to the seventh level of heaven, the highest level of heaven. And it just dawned on me, because there's so many things today that don't make sense. It just doesn't make logical sense that we interact with every minute of the day. And, my thought was, maybe CERN did kill us. Maybe CERN did put us some way and somehow in danger and eliminate the humanity. And we're just waiting for whatever judgment we're having. You know what I mean? I don't know. My brain just started thinking like that today, Eric and everybody in the chat. And it was just, it almost kind of makes sense. But, I don't know.
Well, and the thing too is I've actually had them thoughts too at one time. I was like, are we no longer on Midgard? Are we in Niflheim? Or are we on our way up to Valhalla? Or whatever you want to call heaven or hell. Norse mythology, it's you got Niflheim, which is hell, and you got Valhalla, you got Thorfinn, and you got other places too. There's a couple different heavens for the Norse people, but I've often thought that myself. But I'm sitting there also going, from what I've studied, I think we're still here, but I think something's been mixed up. Something happened and mixed things up.
Yeah, something doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't know if
it's
there's
different.
anybody that wants to, if there's anybody that wants to come on and talk about their experiences, feel free. Feel
the
free.
feel
Come
now
on.
is completely different than it was in the 80s.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. How about even the 90s? Even the 90s, it was different.
The 90s is where I started feeling a shift in the energy. Things started feeling different. Right. About late,
around,
kind of
around
late
97, 98.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're probably right. Certain thing to veil. Stuart. I mean, it's very possible. That's why some of us, like I get in discussions with a brother of mine that I've known since I was 16, and he swears up and get down, and I'm a crackhead because I believe in the Mandela effect. He goes, "It's never been this way," and I can prove it. I was like, "Dude, I can prove you otherwise if this shit existed at one point in time." I said, if it was all a psychological deal, then why is it thousands and thousands of people remember the very same things that I remember? No worries, Stuart. I knew what you meant, buddy.
Yes, damn correct.
Yeah. I knew. I almost read it wrong at first, but I knew exactly what he was trying to say, so I caught myself. But
Cornholio, Cornholio, thin the veil.
I need tippy for my bunghole. Sometimes my bunghole goes. Sometimes it goes. Oh God, I can't believe I still remember that crap.
Oh God, I can't remember. I did. Jeez,
I saw the funniest thing.
Go ahead.
I seen the Beavis and Butthead bus when it was touring America. In fact, I fueled it up. back when I worked at 76 truck stop.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think the Mendola stuff is somebody gaslighting us. I don't think so, man. I think there's too many people that recall the same stuff as I do. I remember
Exactly.
for
Now,
too many.
could it be the effect of CERN? Yeah, CERN could have definitely shifted us somewhere and gotten us maybe a little closer to that shadow realm where spirit goes and the soul goes. They could have
Mm-hmm.
us, right next to it, and it could be just intermittent activity from the spirit world clashing with the world that we're in right now. It very well could be. It's called quantum entanglement. And anybody that knows anything about
Mm-hmm.
quantum entanglement means that, you can actually have timelines crisscross too. And wherever the quantum entanglement is the most, where all the timelines and the dimensions come together and meet at the cross, where they connect, is where we could be, and why we have all this extra activity. So,
Yeah. I've always, since I was knee high to a grasshopper's ass, freaky NWO is New World Order. It's talked about in Revelations quite a bit. I'm a firm believer that NATO. Hey Corey, NATO
hey, Corey.
is the start of the NWO.
Hey, Freaky. I forgot to say hello to Freaky.
Yep.
Forgot to say hello to
What's
Dead Wolf,
up?
too. Good to see you, Dead Wolf. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
No worries, Freaky. I'm here for you, bro. Here to tell how John Deere was spelt. John Deere, I remember it for some
Deere.
reason when I was a kid. I remember having an E at the end of the R. I remember that
Yep.
as a kid. I mean, it's not nowadays, but I remember as a kid it was JOHNDEERE. And I should know because I grew up in northern Missouri. That's farm country up there, and everybody and their
I
brother had
grew up
John
with
Deere.
tractors all the time that had that DE DEERE for the last name of John Deere, and I remember that distinctively.
Yep. Yeah, I do too. And that was when I was a kid. I remember it. DEERE. I remember it very vividly. Well, nowadays it is Dead Wolf. Nowadays it is DEER. But I remember as a kid because John Deere, his last name was spelled DEERE. And that's where the
Exactly.
name of the company came from, John Deere.
What did this heifer just say? I wanted to see I wanted to read that. Let me see.
Yeah, so I'm on my way to the drive-in some years ago. Not sure how long, but I saw the sky glitch and saw the glitch behind what we see as the sky. Seen it twice that day. Wow.
Huh. And that could be, because of the quantum entanglement too. That's the thing with quantum entanglement. You could actually be seeing bits and pieces of other realities and other time from being the quantum entanglement theory, everything being tangled together because of CERN,
Yeah. Yes, that's what I was saying. That the actual owner of John Deere, the creator of John Deere, his name was John Deere, DEERE. Yeah.
And I remember the tractors that I rode, and drove had that spelling on them. I remember.
Yep.
What about cloning? You ever seen your own clone?
I could have swore I have once, man, and I took us, holy shit, is this my doppelganger? But it could have been a clone too. I mean, when we both looked at each other, we both had that holy crap look on our face, and then it was gone.
Yeah, when I was younger, my clone. Yeah, when I was in the military, everybody said my clone was George Clooney. That's all I need to be associated with George Clooney. Yeah. Uh,
Demo said, just remembered something interesting I saw the other day. Two massive black UFOs flew over a gas station by my house. Green lights and pink lights was about as high off the ground as a tree. Holy crap! I wish you could have
wow.
caught video of that.
Yeah, that would have been nice. Even visually seeing that though is says a lot right there too. They
Mhm.
that's something that I really I'm not sold 100% guys on that it's aliens, okay? Um from my
Not
being
every
in the
bit of it.
military, and I'm sure from Eric's being in the military, and anybody else in the chat, that our military has been up to something for a long
Hmm.
time. Okay. It's called reverse engineering. All right. So, I'm just putting that out there. Okay. I'm not sold. I think that
Hmm.
maybe a small percentage of them are craft that we don't actually reverse engineer, that that is made by some other entity. But is that entity
Hmm.
from a billion miles away in space? I don't think so. I think that entity comes from either the water, the South Pole, or somewhere else, because you hear all these craft being spotted going in and out of volcanoes. Why do they go in and out of volcanoes? You would think that they
Hmm.
would burn up, you know,
Yeah.
but they don't.
So
They go in and out of
my
volcanoes.
experience, mhm. My experiences in both life and military tells me that it's one of three things. I mean, I've seen stuff with my own eyes that will tell me that yes, some come from outer space. Now, so you got that style. Then you got our reverse engineered style. And then you've got other countries' reverse engineer style stuff too. So I put them in. There's plenty of military paperwork you're not supposed to see. And they even came out or starting to talk about it now, saying the very same thing. That it's we've got them three types. You've got your extraterrestrial and your terrestrial. Which your terrestrial, some of them are alien, some of them are reverse engineered from either us or other countries. Um, so I believe it's them three aspects right there. The most common with the terrestrial ones that are alien are ones that's been here for a very long time. They're you know whatever you want to call them, your star seeders, or they're just the watchers. They watch over us and stuff like that, or just they came in here.
Okay,
I've
I'm typing a
literally seen
question.
them shoot straight up.
I'm typing a
Yeah,
question
I've
for
literally seen
everybody
them.
in the chat. So,
Mhm. Yeah, I've literally seen them shoot off into space multiple times. I've heard that Elon Musk has a ship in the shape of a triangle with a light on each corner and one dead center. Oh, I didn't know that. Yep, and coming out of the sun. Yep. Do you believe in aliens come from outer space or Earth? I believe they're both. Range would be. I like my peach crayons, Grief. Oops, crap! It jumped on me. Hold on a second here. Don says both. Hey, Darcy. Darcy says both.
Darcy.
Freaky says they come from our intergalactic mothers. Griff said could be both. Okay, Jay says TR3B. Heck yeah.
Uh, okay, so majority of people
Roxanne,
believe
both.
both. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's,
okay.
and honestly, my beliefs in that is from what I've seen and through the stuff that I've known through the military is the reason why I believe that way. So when they actually came out in that Congress committee, I was like, finally, somebody backs what I say. Corey says both. This heifer says both. Demiria, oops. Demiria says both. Hey, Demiria. Oh, yeah, I said hi to you earlier, didn't I? I just remembered. Sorry, my brain ain't working. for entertainment purposes only. Exactly.
Got to put that out there every now and then. Okay, so
I need to start.
if we believe that these craft come from outer space and Earth, what do you think the percentage of that would be? What percentage from space and what percentage from Earth? And Earth being military, reproductions or reverse engineering craft also included in the Earth one.
Well, at one time, I would have said it was probably 90% from space, 10% us. Then it became 50-50. Nowadays, I'm probably going to put it more like 60-40, 60 us, 40% them.
Okay.
Just because we've reversed engineered so much.
Yep, Stuart said 50-50.
Yeah.
What about the rest here? Come on now, guys. What percentage do you think, everybody in the chat?
Mm-hmm.
I would probably say 25% from outer space, from another galaxy or another planet, and 75% from right here in our own world, because we have been lied to our whole lives about the past history of our planet and about mankind's history, because think about it. You had the Atlanteans here, you had the Anunnaki here, you have the reptilians here, you have the ant people here. Okay. These are all races, and the tall Nordic blondes that are here in Inner Earth. These are all races that live within our world that have the ability to have craft made, that can do the things that these UAPs or UFOs can do. So I say 75-25.
I mean, all of them. I mean, all these answers we're getting in here are great answers. We don't know for sure. I mean, we really just don't know. So that's why, I can't dispute what anybody's answers. For me, just based off of my knowledge, is the reason why I put it nowadays 60-40 on us. Us being humans and, let me rephrase that, humans and terrestrial aliens, 60-40, 60% them, 40% is now from outer space, just because of reverse engineering and terrestrial aliens that are living here, either stationed here or whatever the purpose is, they're here.
Yep.
Yeah. Freaky, totally guessing. Absolutely. That's all any of us can do. We don't know.
Hello,
I believe.
Ida and Larry.
What did the committee did actually put a percentage out, and I don't remember what it was. I need to rewatch that committee because one guy told us the percentage of them, and I believe it was favored the terrestrial side of it because like I explained. Now that I just thought about that, I need to rewatch that deal on YouTube again.
But you know what kills me about that whole thing on the disclosure reports and all that shit with Washington, D.C.? What if they're just spoon feeding us so they can pull off this Project Bluebeam? What if they're just blowing sunshine up our ass to keep us satisfied and make it look like we're having this big alien invasion, and they're going to anally probe everybody? Think about it.
The feeling I got from the three people that was testifying on them, two of them were 100% legit. The really old skinny dude, his energy was all over the place. His energy was not right. That old skinny dude, I can't remember his name. That dude, there was something not right about him. That was just what I got from the feeling of their energies, how they're put out. Two of the dudes were legit.
Well, Lou Elizondo was involved in that too. Lou Elizondo and George Knapp were involved in talking to Congress about the UAP and UFO disclosures. I can't
I don't
remember who
remember
the
who it
other
was.
ones were. Yeah, I can't remember who the other ones were, but we all know about Gresh and all that, and we know about some of the Navy guys that were called in and Air Force guys that were called in that are retired currently. But yeah, and Stephen Greer, Dr. Stephen Greer was called into it too. God, who else? There were so many of them that were called into it. But I just find it very, very hard to believe that the people sitting there in Congress questioning these panels on the UFO disclosure, I find it very hard that they don't know anything about it. Very hard. I can't believe that they don't know anything about it. That's just me.
Yeah. The one I watched was the one that came out a month ago. Was the committee hearing they had it's been 3-4 weeks ago they came out with that committee hearing, and there was 3 guys on that panel that was testifying. 2 of them seemed like they were pretty legit. That one dude though, man, something was off about that dude. I don't remember the names. I'll have to try to find it again. This I should be in my search history. I'll look it up, watch it again, try to remember to get the names.
Okay, yeah.
And one thing we got to think about too, some of these people coming out talking about this stuff is trying to set up for this fake alien invasion. Never mind. Rumble. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Rumble.
Yeah, it's a Rumble thing. We got to do a Rumble, man. We have to.
We need to. Let's plan on doing it tomorrow. I ain't got to take my daughter to work tomorrow. So let's plan on, like an hour or 2 after your show, getting her done did. Because I need to kind of explain some things about what happened with a certain area that started with an R. That happened with a certain. I think it's important. People need to understand what's going on here.
Right, exactly.
And which makes me happy because I just watched an interview today by somebody that's pretty credible, and they pretty much confirmed what I was what I've been wanting to say.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll plan it for tomorrow then. Nobody wants to come on and talk about a paranormal event that they encountered or a supernatural thing or even a cryptid thing. Heck, even a UFO thing. I put the link in the chat 3 times already. Nobody's taking us up on it. Wow. I guess I could call this silent mic night.
Let's plan on 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock Central Standard Time. Give me a chance to get some things done around here. I'll have it set up before. You have to be on my Rumble account. I'll get it set up.
I'll even turn off my picture so you don't have to stare at my ugly face if you want to come on.
Oh man, you better have your face on there. Give me a second. I'll pull up. I'll look up my handle here. That's what I thought it was. So I'll type it in the comments here.
Freaky says, William, if I was braver, I would come on.
You get your ass on here, Freaky.
Freaky, you
there you go.
Funny.
I put it in the comment.
Oh, God love you. Oh.
You need to get your on here. Not tonight. Darcy will be tomorrow after the show. Because because I'm too tired to do another show tonight, man. I've been running nonstop since yesterday. I'm exhausted. In fact, I almost overslept and missed my doctor's appointment this morning. I'm not braver.
No, Darcy says she'll come on. What do you want to talk about? Cryptids or UFOs? You pick, guys.
Yeah.
Whatever
the
you
links
want.
in
If
that
you want to
deal
talk
there.
cryptids, yeah, if she wants to talk cryptids, we can do either or. It doesn't matter. Poncho.
Roxanne says we're camera shy. Hey, Poncho.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get caught up on the comments here. Yeah, go for it. I mean, go to Rumble, look up the Bizarre and the Unknown. I think I got the other one shut off finally.
Let me see
I
if I
think I
can
did.
pull mine. Let me see if I can pull it up and copy and paste the thing for you.
Round
right, hold on.
Round 1 or 2 o'clock.
Give me a
tomorrow,
minute,
Darcy.
I'm not that smart.
You're good.
Hold on.
When you get the deal, when we get the deal pulled up and you follow me, I'll create the deal tomorrow and it'll let you know.
Yikes. I didn't ask for that to come up. Good Lord. Okay, where is it?
I mean,
my feed for you. Browse.
Yes, you do.
Picks,
yes, you
trend,
do, Griff.
Library, watch history, watch later. What's your logo look like on Rumble?
It looks just like that one there.
Oh, with the Bigfoot or the Gugway?
Yeah. Yeah, the Gugway. Yeah.
Is that it? Nope, that's somebody else. What the heck? God, these things are so small. You have to be freaking.
Mm-hmm.
You have to wear magnifying glasses for glasses to see these little teeny tiny dots on the left side of the screen that has the pictures that we have on the channels. Well, yours should be right up front too.
Yeah, you're following me on there.
Yeah, I know I am. Bannon's War Room, Newsmax, Badlands Media.
Type in the search deal for, the Bizarre and the Unknown. It should pop me up. I'm trying to find your link so I can copy and paste it. There it is. Oh, it won't let me copy and paste. Egg on it. Right there is what you're wanting, Darcy.
The Bizarre and the Unknown.
Yep, the Bizarre and the Unknown.
Excuse me. Okay, let me see here. What the heck is your link at?
That's what I was trying to find earlier. I just looked under there and seen the Rumble at the Bizarre and the Unknown, so that's what I went off of. I've got the link, but it's on my Talk Studio. I found it at one time. Click the link, Dead Wolf, and it'll bring to us.
Let me see. Okay, not there. Okay, channels. Yeah, it shows that I'm following.
Mm-hmm.
Copy link. Okay, hold on. Do I have it? Wait a minute. Let me see if I've got it. Hold on. Let me go down here to the chat. Copy and paste. Is that it?
Yeah, Darcy, give me a minute. Let me scroll back up to it.
I just put it in the chat. I just put it in the chat.
Okay.
Carry on.
Oh, that's mine.
Yeah, that's yours.
She's one. Okay. Hey, you just started following me again. Did it unsubscribe you? Wow.
Mm-hmm. It sure did.
Wow. Because I know for a fact you and me were following each other on there at one time.
Exactly. Exactly.
She's wanting to link to this show here, so I'm going. There it is. Oh nope, that's for entertainment purposes only. Let me scroll up here. There it is.
Here, I can. I should actually put my Rumble in the chat too.
Heck yeah.
Let me see here.
Should be.
Go to my
Oh
channel.
wait, that said YouTube channel. Is that the correct one? Well, that's what I copied off of your deal. Huh.
What in the hell is it saying? I've only got 3 followers.
That's
Are you
weird.
freaking kidding me? Are they just?
I think 50.
Are they removing people from our channels?
Or are you on the one that you don't use no more?
I'm on the one that has the rabbit and the red hole coming out.
Huh. Yeah, it shows I got 50. No, I've got 53. This deal here said I had 58. I wonder if it's because you haven't been active on it or something. It's called the Into the Red Rabbit Hole, right?
Yeah.
I found you on Spooky Japan.
This is freaking weird, guys. I shouldn't be like having hardly anybody.
Let me. I'll get you guys' comments in just a second. I'm sorry, guys. I'm looking. Yeah, right there you are. I am following you. It's right here. Yeah. Huh. It's not telling me how many followers you got, and that's probably because I'm not, on a deal there. But trying to. Huh. Says you got 60 followers on this one. I'm looking at it right here. It says you got 60 followers. Well, the one thing I did realize, for some reason, it had the bell on silent.
Huh. My feed.
But yep. I wish I could do a picture. Oh, I know what I can do. Oh. By golly, George. Why didn't I think about this? This is an easy way. I'm gonna do a screen share on mine, and I'll do one on yours.
I don't know why I can't find any.
The StreamYard's holding it, but if you look right here, you see my logo, and you'll see right here it says the Bizarre and the Unknown. Cat's knocking something over. This is me. That's mine. And then if you go.
Okay, I think I found my link.
And there's Williams. So if you see this, that's Williams. The Nighthawk High Strangeness. and 60 followers. So that'd be Williams.
Huh. I don't know. I'm just going to get off of Rumble now. Here. It's starting to slow down my feed. Anyways, I don't know. That was weird because it only popped up that I had 4 subscriptions on mine. That was really weird how it did that. And then you said there's 60. I just don't understand how that can. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'll get back up here to where I left off. Where'd we leave off here?
I got a copy of the link.
Okay. Oh, did you? Oh, sorry. Corey says, guys, I had an older retired Army Ranger tell me about Dulce back in 96 on our way back from a hunting trip one night. It's the only time I ever saw fear in him. I remember you telling me about that, Corey. Yeah. For here,
I had
Freaky.
an older Rumble account. I don't know. Okay, Darcy, I put the link in the chat if you want to come on and tell us about your UFO or your cryptid encounter.
Was that the same one that I tried to copy and paste earlier? No, see, that came up different. I wonder why I was doing that. I knew that didn't look right. How much does something have to weigh that when it walks in, it makes the wall quiver and the windows shake? It's something I'm putting on paper. Usually, it's I'm 290 and I can do that here. We can't do screenshots, Freaky. That's why I've done that share screen because we can't post screenshots on here.
Yeah. Yeah, the Vortex, Roxanne, is mine. It's the Vortex is the one live that I did. So, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'll figure it out. Anyways,
I do for some reason to Mary. I thought I deleted the other one. If it's still showing up, it means I need to get back here and play with it again because I canceled that other one. So I don't know why it's popping up.
Yeah, I don't believe I had a separate Rumble account. I think I only
did
had
at one time. You did at one time. I remember us having issues with that before.
Well, let me go back and see here. Hold on.
Corey, you have a good one, buddy.
All right, people. Since nobody wants to talk about some kind of encounters and stuff, we'll just basically get to the end of this then, and so we can figure out what's going on with our Rumble and go from there for tomorrow.
Outside in the backyard, this effort, no, it'd be heavier than that if it was outside. I thought you was talking about inside because I'm roughly 290. Oh, there's Darcy. Darcy's coming in. I'm roughly 290, and I can make that happen here in the house. So if it's outside, it's got to be something heavier. Usually, what happens when I have that instant is like the quarry or something explodes, and that's usually what happens out here. Yeah. Hey, Darcy.
Hey guys.
Hey, Darcy. How's Darcy
George
doing?
I'm hanging in there. How about you?
Oh, I'm hanging in there too.
A couple of dive bombing guests. So,
All
what do
right.
you guys want to hear
Heck yeah,
about?
that counts too, boy. Griff. Man, whatever you
Whatever
got,
you
whatever
want
you
to
got,
talk
man,
about.
let us know.
I mean, I've got the 94 choir trip where I had the bipedal canine encounter. I've got the gargoyle thing that I saw out the back of my yard. I've got a variety of paranormal stuff through the years, and I've got that really weird UFO thing from earlier this year. So take your pick. Where do you want to start?
See, I'm not the only one. I'm not
Wherever
the
you
only one
feel.
that saw a gargoyle. I'm
No,
not
you're
the
not.
only
We've
one.
actually had 2 here in Racine.
I haven't never seen one,
See?
but I don't know if I'll shit my pants or not if I ever do.
Probably depends on what they're doing at the time. Mine was just looking down, kind of amused by what was going on by the people in the area. So, nothing scary about that one.
Well, whatever you
brain
think
fart.
will scare the pants off of anybody in the chat would be probably a good one to go with. So
You want to go with scary. Okay. God. Problem is, you deal with, William, you deal with this for so long, shit doesn't scare you anymore, right? 46 years of dealing with this.
oh yeah,
It's like,
I know.
okay.
It's like second nature. It's like, okay, yeah, I see you.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I was sitting there at work and I had like these things coming out of the corner of my eyes the last 2 days this week. I'm like, either come over here and talk or get the fuck away from me. I'm busy.
Yep.
Oh, we got someone else coming in.
Oh, look at that. We got
too,
Deadwolf coming in.
All right, cool.
All
Ain't
right.
got no picture.
All right. Well, since people don't talk about gargoyles much, I'll fill that in while he's figuring out getting in here, and we can take off from there. This was, God, girls, how long was this? It was like, I want to say 4 years ago in the summer that the gargoyle first was witnessed. I had come home after working like a 14-hour night shift. It was hot. It was like late July, early August. And I had taken the dog out to go to the bathroom before going to bed. And I'm looking up, and behind me, there's a church school. And I'm like, that's a right nice gargoyle. Now, keep in mind, I've been here like 10 years. I knew darn well that there was no gargoyles on that church school, but it didn't click. It was this fat, grayish, greenish kind of color. It had wings, more like a bird than like a bat, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And it was like in a half hunch. The wings are pulled back, but they were still folded. It's not like they were like spread out or anything. And it's sitting down there. It's got just this bemused look on its face, right? And the whole reason I caught the attention, it's like it had taken a little step towards the edge of the top of this building. And down below, kids are shuffling in for school. There's construction going on. It's like nobody's even noticing this thing. It wasn't until later on the next night when I was at work, I'm like, wait, they don't have gargoyles on that church.
Yeah.
I raced home the next morning to look, and first thing, guaranteed, nope, it was not there. But that thing, just based off of, where I am to where the top of that building is, I'm guessing it was like 6.5, 7 foot tall.
Yeah, that's about
it.
The one that I saw was about 7 foot tall also. So yeah.
And it wasn't like a human-y face. It wasn't like a specific animal face. There was no beak on it. I'd say kind of chubby cheeks. Wasn't really feline or canine, just like a generic gargoyle face, I guess. And there had been one spotted about 10 years before over by a dam not far from here. So I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one that's seen this thing in the area. But then, like, I want to say it was like late spring this year, I heard what sounded like a whoosh, and I looked out the window, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw a flash of gray. And now I've warded my house, my yard. Nothing can come on this property that's actually going to hurt me or my loved ones that are here. So it couldn't have meant any harm. And typically they were originally looked at as protective of buildings and keeping away bad energy anyhow. So
now, let me ask you this, Darcy. Let me ask you this, if I could.
Yeah.
When I had my experience with what I saw that was flying overhead, it almost had like an almost kind of like a divine type of a feeling about it. Like it was almost,
Wow.
I don't want to say it was angelic, but it was kind of along that same sensory,
Okay.
that you would feel. Um, so do you think that they could be the fallen, that they could be, some type of a demon per se, or, something along that lines?
What I experienced personally, so I won't say for anybody else what they experienced, but what I experienced personally, I didn't pick up on the type of energetic vibration that you would expect with a demon. And typically, if I think of the fallen, I'm throwing them into the demon category just based off of
Right.
what my education's been with them so far. But it seemed bemused. It was very not frightening for me. There was
Right.
nothing scary about it. I kind of got the idea that it was just kind of like the protective energy of the city. And to
Yeah,
be
that's
honest,
what I felt.
there's been a ton of Mothman sightings not far from me. And
Mhm.
there was one at the state fair not even a week after I had had the gargoyle experience, which I found fascinating. But yeah, and there's been an uptick in demonic activity between the Chicago and Milwaukee corridor, anyhow. It's so bad that the church can't get out for months to even assess whether or not somebody legitimately needs church intervention or medical intervention or anything like that. They're so backlogged because it's been so bad.
Right.
So, you know, them being
So,
here as a little extra protection, I'll take it, especially with there being
yeah.
a nuclear power plant between us and Chicago. I will definitely take whatever protection we can
Right.
get.
Yeah, and you'd also know too, though, that Mothman has been sighted around nuclear power plants. You
Yes.
know,
Mhm.
so
Yes. And it freaks
even
me
when
out.
there isn't a disaster, so I mean, yeah, I mean, it very well could be along the same line as the Mothman, to tell you the truth, but it's like when Dennis and I were on here together and stuff, how we linked the red glowing eyes with the supernatural entity, that if you
Sure.
see red glowing eyes, you're dealing with something more spiritual and supernatural in its base than you are with a regular cryptid, you
Which,
know. So
I really can't argue that because usually those red glowing eyes, they're lit from internal. They're not the ones that are just reflecting light. So, yeah.
yeah,
And there's a lot of like demons, talpas, thought forms, all sorts of different energies that can transmute into looking something terrifying for anybody that's not used to dealing with it, that isn't used to picking
exactly.
up on energy signatures to know whether it's legitimate or not. And it's like,
Yep.
okay, well, thanks for making it harder on the ones that actually aren't awful, but
Yeah, yeah, exactly. See?
And that's something I try to get people to understand. You got to know the difference between reflective eyes and glowing eyes. A lot of people will call a
Right.
reflective eye a glowing eye. There is a
oh,
complete difference
absolutely.
between a reflective eye and a glowing eye, and this is something that really hurts when we're trying to do research because people always want to classify them the same. No, there's a
Yeah, they're
huge difference
definitely not
between
the
the two.
same. Look at if you have a pet dog or cat, look at them in low light when the light hits their eye. Whether
Mhm.
outside going potty and it's like a street light reflecting off of it, or you have to turn on a flashlight because you don't want to wake everybody up in the house and you catch a cat's eyes. That's reflective. That's tapetum lucidum
Mhm.
reflecting. That's what helps give them great night vision, right? Even seeing a doe or a buck on their side of the road as your light catches their eye as you're going past and they're waiting because they've learned not to turn into creamed corn. That's reflective. Glowing
Right.
is something that you're going to get without any light source whatsoever, and it's still going to be shining. That's
Yep.
glowing.
And the reports that I have encountered with the red glowing eyes and my own personal encounters, you cannot mistake it from, the self-illuminating to just the reflective glare from headlights hitting it. They're two totally
Mhm.
separate types of ways to
Absolutely.
eliminate something. So
Absolutely, because we had a shadow creature in the one freezer at the place I was working at the same time that I was seeing that gargoyle, and that thing had the self-glowing eyes. You know, I was the only one that would go in that damn freezer after the shipping department went home. I'm like, bring it. They get very insulted, by the way, when you're not scared of them. The shadow creatures, the shadow beings, when you're not scared of them, you do a little light bubble blast and keep going. It's like they get so insulted they don't know what to do. Like they're not scared. They're not scared of me. I'm not getting a reaction.
right.
It's the funniest damn
Yep.
thing when you pick up on it, really, which
Yeah,
insults them
true.
even more.
That's good. Oh, you want to tell us another one, or you want to keep on
Sure.
going?
Yeah. Oh God, I could keep going all night. I work night shift. I don't get home till like 2 a.m.
Oh,
Dead Wolf's having issues with his signal, so he's not going to be able to jump on.
Oh well,
man.
hopefully he'll be
Okay.
either try later or maybe he can come on at another time. It'd still be great to hear from him.
Yeah,
It's his
Yeah, it
signal.
yeah.
He
All
said
right,
it
let me
signals.
think. Well, I mean, you know what? Why don't I share my bipedal canine encounter? And I'm going to call him that instead of Dogman because I feel like we're lumping a lot of canine creatures into the Dogman that maybe don't necessarily belong in that category. I believe there's separate categories for that, but we won't digress into
And
that right now.
just so everyone knows, Darcy is a big humanitarian when it comes to the four-legged friends of ours, our children. Okay, so you know, she posts a lot of stuff on social media that I actually steal and post on my page too. So
One of my favorites was the one where they had the guy that plays Thor, and they're asking him, "So, how much faith do you have in humanity?" And the response is, "Me? I'm a dog person."
yeah,
Yep. But okay, so my bipedal canine, which happened back in 1994. I was actually in high school at the time, so this is before camera phones. People, all right, we're lucky if we had a car phone to call for help. I was at a scout camp for a choir retreat. We were doing some trust building exercises over the summer. I do believe it was early August. I have a lot of my sightings during the summers, actually, now that I think about it. And it was that first night we had gotten there. We actually, you know what, we had a couple of things happen during that trip. So I'm going to start with right after we got done with our first choir practice when we were up there. We had come outside of the mess hall, which is where we were practicing. And it had been like drizzling, like a light rain all day. And as we came out of there that afternoon, there was this gorgeous golden fog that was just enveloping everything. It was like the universe was giving you this giant warm hug. It was like a golden blanket just wrapping itself around everything. It was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I couldn't believe more people weren't paying attention to it, honestly. But that like started the whole weekend off with just that. Really, for me, it was a fun kind of a feeling. It's like, what a blessing to see that. And then we moved forward. We went through, we had supper. And behind this mess hall, there's like this gentle sloping hill down into a bowl. And there was a fire pit. And someone had lit a bonfire. I mean, we had flames looking like 7 foot tall. I'm surprised we didn't like dry out some of the trees surrounding the bowl, actually. And there were several choir members there, a couple of chaperones. My fiance at the time was sitting on the right side of me. We were sitting on like a half-hewn log bench, makeshift bench that was sitting there. And I could feel like an energy behind me. And we had a ton of practical jokers in that group of choir people, right? So I'm thinking it's one of the guys from the singers group coming up to play a joke on me. It's my first time with any of the group outings, whatever. And I go and I spin around real fast, wanting to catch him off guard and scare the shit out of him instead. And I'm looking, and they're like, "There's nobody there." And I'm looking, and I'm like, "Okay, where in the tree line did they go hide and dive into?" And I'm looking back, and I'm going, and my eyes are starting to travel up the bowl, up the slope, and then there's a couple of pine trees out back. Now it's pretty dark at this point, so I'm mostly going by the light from the bonfire, and there's a couple of lights on in the mess hall yet, lighting from the other side. Mm-hmm. And I see an outline. And I start squinting. What am I seeing? And and I'm realizing it looks kind of like a wolf head. But I'm like, okay, first off, this fur is like blacker than the night sky. It's like black. It's like Vanta black. If you've not heard of Vanta black, it's a black that absorbs light so much it just looks like a black hole. I believe that it was originally developed for military use, and then you can get it now, but it's like super expensive for like a little itty bitty ounce. So it's not something that, especially back then, someone's going to have access to that they're going to be playing a prank. And the coat of this wolf-looking thing that was standing way too tall up to be on all fours was just too thick for a summer coat on a wolf. Wolf coats in summer are kind of mangy looking. They're really thin. They're light, they're not meant to have all that bulk. That bulky coat is for the winter. Those beautiful shots you see of wolves are always in the winter. And and then all of a sudden, I caught the reflection of the light off its eyes. At this point, I'm going, no fucking way am I seeing what I'm seeing. What is that? Is that a werewolf? Werewolves don't exist. That's something for the movies. This doesn't possibly exist. And I lean into my fiance and I said, "You see that?" He said, "See what?" I said, "You see the thing back in the woods. Can you see the light reflecting off its eyes?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm thinking he's awfully calm. But he had been at that camp before. I'm like, okay, well, maybe he knows what the fuck it is. And I think we sat out there for at least an hour, if not two. And, if I'm staring at that bonfire a bit more, the thing would actually come out of the woods a little more, I noticed. And if I'm like constantly checking back over my shoulder, it was like receding back a little bit. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So I would intentionally just start kind of staring at that bonfire, hoping to lure it out enough so I can make out more detail. And as those flames started getting lower, I decided that's probably a better idea if I get my ass the heck over to the girls' cabin before the light goes completely out. And so I had the fiance walk me up to the mess hall so I could find another one of the gals to go out to the girls' cabin with, because I knew they're not going to let him walk me over to the girls' cabin, not with the chaperones right there. So, and he walked me up there and he headed off to the guy's cabin. I found one of the girls I knew from track, and she was kind of getting a creepy vibe. And I'm just freaking out because I don't know what the hell this thing is. So our two dumbasses decide we're going to run from the mess hall to the girls' cabin. What's the one thing you never want to do if you're dealing with, a predator? You don't run. You don't even run from dogs because it incites that prey drive. But whatever this is had enough self-composure to not chase after us, right? And we get into the girls' cabin, realize we both have to pee, have to run for the outhouse because this is definitely primitive camping. And then back, it was bad enough. It was a one stall bathroom. We're like, no. So one of us closed the eyes, held the door shut, like literally leaning back, holding the handle shut so nothing could come in. And when the one was done, we switched and got back to the cabin. Granted, this whole time, it's not like it ever chased us. And it's not like we ever heard it outside. It was just our own fear getting the best of us. And then come morning, sun lights up. My dumbass decides it's going to go check out where I saw this thing. Like, oh, the light's out. It must be gone. Luckily for me, it was. and I wasn't taking anything off. But I went back over to head over to the area where I had seen it the night before. And as I'm approaching towards the front of the mess hall, I just smell this awful smell. Whatever it was, it smelled like a dog with diarrhea had shat all over the place. I actually found
Yeah, almost like a roadkill smell too, though. The wet dog and just
this
something
this
that's
wasn't
not
roadkill.
clean.
This wasn't roadkill. This was definitely, it was like gelatinous scat, kind of a grayish, greenish, brownish color. It's like if you ever had a dog with an upset stomach, you've seen the colors,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about. Um,
Yep.
so I smelt that. I actually went over to investigate that after I looked over by the trees. But by that pair of pine trees, there were wood chips. So now I couldn't get any kind of paw print to see just how tall or how much weight this thing may have had. But there was
Right.
definitely, the chips had been pressed down so much. They were so compressed where this thing had been standing. I had no doubt that it was indeed there. And based off of roughly where that bottom branch was to where I was seeing it the night before, I'm going to guess that thing was probably 6.5, 7 foot tall, probably closer to 6.5. And the thing that blew my mind is not far behind there was shrub. There was like a shrubbery kind of bush. I'm like, how the hell is this thing moving back and forth? And I wasn't hearing it making a noise. That didn't make sense to me. So as I'm pondering this, I decide to take a very narrow path between the bowl and the boys' cabin through the woods. I'm really lucky there wasn't something sleeping in there that was hungry. Just because it's a scout camp doesn't mean it's safe. It's still wooded.
Yeah,
And
Jason Voorhees.
and as I'm headed over to the guy's cabin, the fiance's still asleep. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna head down this trail. I had been there once before with the fiance while he was helping out there for some other reason, and I go walking up this path that's got just kind of a cat o' nine tail area that's all dried out. It wasn't like swampy at the time. It was all dried out. And then to the left of me is like a small hillside, lots of trees. And I knew further up in the hillside there was like I call it the prison room, but it was like just wrought iron bars in the side that they locked some of the equipment behind. Can't really call it a shed because it's not like it was keeping the weather out. But as I'm walking up this trail, I see this red orb, broad daylight, red orb, come floating out of the woods, about the size of like a soccer ball or volleyball, very dense red in the center, kind of diffused towards the outside. And it kind of had like a hovering motion right about my height, and I'm about 5'8". And it was probably 10 foot or so ahead of me on the trail. And it's heading in the same direction I'm heading. So I'm following it. And this thing at one point comes to a dead stop. So, of course, now I freeze. And it goes again. I'm like, okay. So I keep following. It stops again. And you could tell it's like turning around to face me. And even though there was no audible sound, it's like in my head, I could hear it saying, why the hell are you following me? And at that point, I just, I have the oh shit moment. I just about had the brown pants. I think thought, okay, they're just a dumb fuck. And they, it turns around and it continues on. And eventually the trail that we're on T-bones. And it continued past the T-bone in the woods and literally just disappears right in front of my eyes. And I'm like, holy shit, what the hell did I just see? Because at that point, yes, I was very interested in the paranormal, but the thing from the night before had any sense. So, but that was a very interesting thing. And it took me a long time, a lot of years to process actually what had happened at that camp and realize I was dealing with some sort of bipedal canine, probably a wolf person. And most likely a juvenile. Just because I think I wasn't meant to see it. I think it probably got in trouble because I saw it. And at the
Right.
same point, my fiance's reaction had been so nonchalant. I'm like, are these things out here like on a regular basis? Do you know them? Is this why you're not freaking out? But that didn't click until long after he and I had broken up. So I got no way to go back and ask him because I can't find him on social media. Or I'd freaking send him a message because I want to know. I tried reaching out to the camp.
Let me ask you this, Darcy. Can I ask you this?
Yeah.
With your canine cryptid encounter, that's about what I'm going to call it, because there's really no way to really determine unless we get a body what it is. But a lot of the reports, including my own, they are spotted in trees, and they actually climb trees just like a human. I mean, they're very, very agile.
I think they're probably more agile than we are.
Yeah. Have you ever experienced that?
I have not personally that I'm aware of. Now, it doesn't mean that I wasn't around it and just didn't pick up on it. Because, you know, when you're younger, you don't necessarily always see that. But certainly since learning that they can climb trees, I'm definitely keeping an eye out. You know, when I started getting older and taking my dogs out, I'm always looking around for cougar anyhow. Because we do have them in the area. They come through. Everybody denies it, but they do come through. So I'm constantly on high alert to keep the dogs safe. But
same thing
I haven't seen it yet, but I know just from research, talking to people, that kind of thing, that they very much can. And even though that was my longest exposure to them, I have had sightings since then. I just haven't had what I classify as an encounter. You know, it's not a duration, it's a glimpse and they're gone kind of thing versus that actual experience.
Exactly. Well, thank you for that. I mean, that's amazing. I'm glad you came on. We're working on a 2-hour mark right now, so and I'm starting to get a little short-winded myself. So
I believe it. I know it's getting late for everybody. So
yeah, but you know, thank you for coming on. We'll have to have you come on again and tell us about the UFO and all the other stuff too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm working on journaling everything anyhow because, you know, all the experiences I've had over the years, I really don't want to forget. And at some point it may come in handy to be able to go back and reference that for somebody else that's, you know, having experience that maybe I can fill in gaps for them to help them feel more normal, or, you know, the more you try to remember, the more details make it easier to help others too. So yeah, I was happy to jump on. Happy I could help you close the last half hour.
Yeah, I appreciate it very much. Thank you very much, dear. You're a dear friend. Trust me. You're extended family as far as Tracy and I go. So you know that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I still have your medicine bag. I still haven't sent it out, but I do still have it for you. It's just been one of those years.
All right. That's all right. Take your time. I don't think I'm going to be going anywhere. I've got my schedule of medical appointments for next month. They had to reschedule everything because of my blood pressure being so low that they can't even normalize it. But I'll be having my surgery. I'll be having my surgery on December 20th at 9:20 a.m.
Okay.
So yeah, on December 20th, everybody pray for me. So
you know what? I'll send you the energy early because, you know, energy is not limited to time and space like we limit ourselves in the 3D. So I'll get that sent ahead of time for you.
Exactly. Thank you, dear. Well, it's been great. Thank you for coming on, Darcy.
Oh, you're welcome, sweetheart. And if you're ever stuck at night and you can't sleep, you know who to hit up because it's my day off. I'm going to just be sitting around twiddling my thumbs anyhow.
All right. All right, kiddo. Thank you.
Yep. We'll see you next time.
Thanks. See you.
That was incredible, man. That was a lot of good.
Heck yeah.
I had to turn my camera off to make the actual feed stick better, so she wasn't delayed. You know, so I turned my camera off. But every time we get like delayed, I kind of, I have to do tweaks like that every now and then. So, and it's just my internet. My internet here is crap too. So I hate it.
Yeah, while she was talking, we were watching a shadow figure over my damn shoulder up here.
Yeah.
Up by my
Anyways,
gugly.
everybody, I want you all to question everything. You can tell I'm getting tired, man. You got to be tired too. But yeah, question
I'm
everything. We're going to be coming back on in the morning, and then tomorrow sometime later on after the morning broadcast, we're going to be doing the live Rumble. So it's going to be a full day tomorrow. If you can, just keep everybody in the Word of Warrior family in the chat in your prayers. Let's lift each other up and not really worry about the way things are going, because as long as we got each other, we're going to be good. Okay. Eric and I will be doing probably a survival podcast here within the next few weeks, couple weeks, so we can get some more information out for everybody. And yes, Roxanne and Eric and who else was it? Ray. I still have packages to mail out, so I will get to that at the first of the month. You'll get them in time for Christmas. This is what I was delaying them for. I want you to have them for Christmas presents. So, anyways, that being said, tomorrow morning at 11 a.m., it'll be the Saturday edition of the Paranormal Weekend Brew Show. And then tomorrow afternoon or whatever, Eric and I will be live on Rumble. Eric, you want to tell them what you got going on this weekend?
Yeah, so I'll be on with you in the morning, and we'll do that Rumble around 1-2 o'clock Central Standard Time. And then I have my campfire chats with Eric Guest, which is a free, a safe place for you to come and share your encounters. That's tomorrow on my channel. Sunday morning, of course, I'll be on with you again. And then I might be late Sunday evening. I got to take my daughter to work. So I might be late. I haven't picked a subject yet, man. I was just between the holidays and everything, I've been busier than a hiccup. So I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'll figure it out tomorrow or Sunday. I'll figure it out tomorrow. I'm going to go to bed. I've been on this computer enough this weekend, and then everything else running around. I just ain't had time.
Yeah.
So
I've been seeing all kinds of weird stuff here in the room I'm in. I call it my studio and computer room, but it's more like a closet.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was sitting there sharing, and I'm like, I kept looking over here because, like, man, I kept seeing something here in the corner above my gugly. Yeah. And I was like, man, and then one time I was moving my head, I could have swore I seen it move over here. And then I guess I'm not the only one was seeing it, because Griff and them were seeing it too.
Yeah. And I've been seeing like flashes of, I just saw another one, like a flashlight turning on my left and right sides. And then it, as soon as I see it, it shuts off. So yeah.
And I've been that's what I was doing. I wasn't trying to be rude, but I'm like,
yeah.
I wasn't trying to be rude. I'm like, holy shit, I'm watching something over here. It don't feel bad.
Never
so I'm
a dull moment.
Man,
yeah, no, never a dull moment. Yep.
It just felt like it was looking over my shoulder. So I was like, man, go for it, dude. Enjoy it. You don't feel bad, so I'm not going to mess with you.
Yep. And Dead Wolf, we're going to get you on here, brother, because I want to hear about some of those encounters. So don't you worry. We'll fix the time up, okay? So we'll get you on here. Maybe even next Friday. Yeah. We'll see how it goes next Friday, Anyways, everybody, we love you very much in the chat. Please share this out as much as you can. A lot of good information in this one tonight. Again, if you all could keep me in your prayers, December 20th. And it figures I'm going under the knife just a couple days before Christmas. So, but yeah, December 20th at 9:20 a.m. Eastern. And I have my pre-op workup on December 9th at 1 p.m. So for the surgery, because they do that pre-surgery crap, blood work and all that. So anyways, we will see you all in the morning, and stay weird, everybody.
Peace, love, and blessings, everyone.